Hi, I'm Sara Levin, the Artful Inker, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm here with this Jar of Flowers card that I created for this week's the Spot Creative Challenge, and it was a sketch challenge. Let me set this aside and we'll get to the creating. So for this card, as I mentioned, we're using Jar of Flowers, and our sentiment will come from the stamp set Many Mates. I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock and flowers from Jar of Flowers, and I'm going to ink those in Magenta, and turning it upside down like this, I can be sure that I've got all the little pieces inked up well. I just want to give it a rub over all edges and swipe that spider out of the way. Okay. Now we're going to do some coloring with the Stampin Blends. And let me just zoom right in here. So we're going to start with some Dark and Light Daffodil Delight and color these two flowers, or sorry, the rose here, and I'm going to sweep in some of the dark and then come back and blend with the light. And I'm going to do that on around the flower. And then I'm going to pause the camera a moment while I do the rest of the coloring for this rose. So the rose is colored, and now I want to add some shading, and I've got light crumb cake here, and I'm just going to deepen the shading at a few little spots. And I'm going to come back over all of that with the light Daffodil Delight and blend that just a little bit. Okay, so we're through with that flower, and then next we're going to use the light Magenta Madness, and I've got my color lifter, and we're going to use the soften blend technique. So I'm going to color on here with, oh sorry, it's the dark Magenta Madness, and just start and put this in, and then as you lose the color, that you're going to use that as your lighter tone. And just keep going and picking up color, and as it runs out, use it to create some of your blending, as if you have two colors going. Okay, and then I need to clean my my color lifter. And I'm done with that. But I do see one little Daffodil Delight petal down in here that should have been colored. Okay. And then I've got my Granny Apple Green for some leaves. And we're just going to quickly hit all of these leaves with the dark and light. The Stampin' Blends are available in my store in combo packs. And Magenta Madness is a new color with the new catalog. Okay, and let's do this one over here. Okay, and cap these up and move on to the Purple Posy. Now, while we don't have Purple Posy in an ink pad, we do have Purple Posy in our Stampin' Blends. And this was a perfect color to work with the others going on in this flower arrangement. And just dotting in some of the dark and then coming back over and being much less precise, blending in some of the light. Okay, and that's all we're going to color of this one. I'm going to cut that out with a stitch shaped square, but before I go, let's zoom the right direction. There's a little more stamping to do. So I have our sentiment from Many Mates, and I want to ink that with Memento. I'm going to make sure I'm giving it enough of a border all the way around when I cut it, or for cutting. Okay, and one last bit of stamping to do. Let me bring in my Stamparatus, and I already have a little border piece set up here, and I've got pieces of Magenta Madness cardstock cut at 1 3/4 and 3 3/4. And I've got a piece of the Stamparatus grid paper in here, which is really fabulous. So I'm going to line up on my grid paper at 3 1/8 and ink up my border piece. And give this a close. Oops. It would help if I have the magnet on the right side. So give this a close. And then I'm going to move this up to 3 3/4. Now the magnet can be on the top, and ink this up. So I'm going to do that for 2 pieces of Magenta Madness. But I'll do the second one off camera. And while I'm gone, let me go ahead and use my 2-inch circle punch. And I'm going to punch a circle from Whisper White. And then, after I finish my stamping, I'm going to be using the new Greenery embossing folder on this Whisper White circle, and then the Ornate Flowers 3D embossing folder on a piece of Whisper White for my background layer. So I'll be right back. So I'm back with our die cut and embossed pieces. This is the background layer embossed with the ornate flowers, and this is the piece embossed with the greenery embossing folder. I did use some alcohol in my Stampin' Spritzer to spritz both of these pieces before embossing so that I get a deeper impression. And now we're ready to assemble this card. So I'm going to start with my background layer and dimensionals. And pull all the backings off. And let's make sure we've got this centered. And then I've got these two layers of Magenta Madness, and I'm going to adhere those right to my Whisper white background. Just want to check the spacing here a moment before I start gluing. And I'm using multi-purpose liquid glue. A little bit'll do ya. That might be up. There we go. Close the gap just a little bit and give those a little bit of a rub. And then here's our stitched square stamped with the jar of flowers. And we're just going to tuck these in for spacing. And then I've got a piece of Daffodil Delight that I cut with the Stitch So Sweetly dies. And our sentiment here. So we need to work on layering these. So this piece is going to get dimensionals all the way around. We need a double stack, or no, we don't need a double stack, sorry. And I'm going to set this aside for just a moment. Now I'm using the debossed side, which is the side that goes in on the design for this piece. And I'm putting one dimensional on the back, and then going to add adhesive. And pick this piece up and kind of get my spacing right here. Okay, so add that down, put that on. Now this needs dimensionals along the bottom. Oops, just about out of dimensionals on this sheet. And we're going to add a little bit of going to double stack these on the bottom. I do want them to be higher than the floral centerpiece. Okay. Put this back on, and then add some dimensionals to this piece. And center that in here. And then I've got some of the in color enamel dots, and we're just going to add a couple of those. And finish up here. There we go. So there's our Jar of Flowers card. Thank you for stopping by today. This was Sara Levin, the Artful Inker of theartfulinker.com. You can find the link to today's blog post and all the products in the description below, as well as the link to my store. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell if you would like to receive notifications of my next videos. Give this a thumbs up and have a great day. Bye.